We have the Army funding an algorithm that decodes brain signals. This is coming from nextgov.com. Let me tell you, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There is a staggering amount of money that is being spent on some very bizarre, Orwellian, Frankenstein research. That very, very dangerous stuff. And a lot of this is going in, the obsession that our government has had since the middle of the 20th century with reading minds and controlling minds should frighten you to death. Think about this. Going back to the mid-20th century, we had the CIA and all of this stuff that was happening with LSD and these other issues. That was all about trying to control people's minds, right? A lot of psychological experiments, a lot of drug experiments. And then they started working on electronics, the electronic aspect of this. And as we go back to Moncef Slaoui, what these guys are doing now when they hang out with their pharmaceutical buddies and they do their programs, they're talking about electroceuticals. Yeah, everything in the future is going to be focusing on electrical stimulation and reading your mind, altering your memories. We've had pronouncements from DARPA. Oh, yeah, you know, we're working on that, and we're really pretty close, they say. They've probably already done it. Saying that we want to be able to help soldiers who have PTSD. We want to be able to remove memories and to implant memories that people have never had. That's going to, it's just a charitable thing that we're doing. Nothing sinister at all, nothing to worry about with that if they can do it. And let me tell you, they have so much money and so many people working on this. And if you stop and think about it, I mean, any student of the Bible knows the story of the Tower of Babel. This is a situation, folks, where you have the combined, pooled intellect of not only every scientist in the world, but also research that has been put together by a lot of people who are no longer around. I mean, this is the combined sum of human knowledge, and this can be moved around very, very quickly. We've never seen anything like this before. And so what is it that they admit that they're doing with this? Well, they say the application could enable soldiers to communicate with each other without ever even opening their mouths. In other words, telepathy, in a word. They won't use that. But this is all about brain manipulation, mind control. The CIA, the military-industrial complex, DARPA, the NIH has their Connectome project. I mean, you could go on and on. There's a gazillion of these alphabet agencies. And most of them are doing things that they're not going to talk about. So you can't talk, you can't even whisper, but you could still communicate. If you can talk to your machine, and the machine talks to the other machine, and the machine talks to the other soldier, you basically have a full link without ever uttering a word. You have telepathy, right? Now, there's all about mind reading. Everything that they do, it's about mind reading, altering your reality. And, these are the same people who want to have you locked in your home with no access to the outside world except through the internet that they also designed. That was designed by a DARPA psychologist before it became practical in the 1960s. And then we also see from Vice News, they're talking about how the U.S. military buys location data from ordinary apps. Now, again, as I said when CISA was mentioned last week or so ago, CISA is not about election security. If you want election security, you go back to paper ballots. CISA was about this very thing. And this is why Aaron Swartz fought it. It's why he was suicided. Because in its first several instantiations, it was called CISPA. They dropped the P because they didn't want people asking awkward questions about who was going to be protected. But they say, well, we have the U.S. military is buying the granular movement of data of people around the world. The word for that is geospatial intelligence, but that's a word that the media will not use. Isn't that interesting that they will not use that, and that they tell you now that CISA is to protect the elections? Just like Microsoft and the Pentagon's News Guard is to protect the news. No, it's to keep you from seeing it. An election guard is to keep you from having real elections.
Cognitive dissonance is a major issue amongst the left. It can be very stressful dealing with facts you refuse to accept. If you have a family member suffering from this degenerative mental condition, buy them a bottle of Ultimate Fish Oil from InfoWarsStore.com. Studies have suggested that fish oils and fish oil supplementation can slightly lower blood pressure, decrease triglyceride levels, decrease the growth rate of plaque, and provide a soothing reduction in inflammatory responses in joints and the digestive system. Recent studies have suggested that high EPA and DHA fish oil can stimulate immune function by increasing the concentration and activity of immune cells. It worked for my family, and now I can have a logical and calm discussion about actual facts that pertain to reality. Get your Ultimate Fish Oil for a friend, family member, or yourself at InfoWarsStore.com.